certainly who sort of see me as this used to be a job that you didn't need to campaign for, but we've now got to a stage in which, well before I entered the fray, we had 3 active campaigns that had gone to capitals that had made the case, and it became very clear that whoever entered thereafter would have to play by the new rules. So I have indeed been to a number of capitals. I've used up a lot of my leave, in fact almost all the leave I've accumulated in 28 years of service in the UN, trying to pursue my candidacy by going to a number of capitals. Some of these were sort of, if it's Tuesday, this must be Belgium kinds of weeks, where one was literally sort of spending 18 to 20 hours in one city and hopping a plane to the next one. And then here in New York, of course, it's been a week, 10 days with a lot of key people visiting from capitals, and an opportunity therefore to touch base with them as well as with their representatives here in advance of Thursday's straw poll.
Continue writing?
Probably not. In fact, it's very interesting because this question has been asked, and what's striking is that Dag Hammarskjöld wrote every day. I think the whole idea of regional rotation is simply twofold. First is the sense that, after all, 3 of the first 4 Secretary General were all from Western Europe. And while we all love Western Europe, we find it difficult to believe that that 5% of the world's population is somehow 3 times more qualified than anybody else to produce a Secretary General. Therefore, the feeling is that the only way of ensuring that every part of the world gets a fair shake of the job would indeed be by actually trying to have an informal system of regional rotation. The second concern is one of bringing a different sensibility to bear. I mean, people who've grown up in Asia or have shared the Asian experiences clearly come with a different sensibility from those who've grown up in Africa, those who've grown up in Latin America. It's simply a question of what they've seen around them, culturally, socially, economically, politically, and so on. But that's all. I've said openly to the press in India, for example, when asked, well, what will India gain from your election? I've said nothing at all. I'd be an Indian Secretary General, but I would not be India's Secretary General. And I would say the same thing with regard to Asia. I'd be an Asian Secretary General, but I would not be Asia's Secretary General. I'd be a Secretary General for the entire world. To find both the time and the space inside us. I'm not one of those who believes that we can just march in blithely without the consent of the Sudanese government. Not on questions of doctrine of sovereignty. I think the responsibility to protect is a very important principle, a norm that's been established. But as a practical proposition, we're not going to be in a position to make war in Sudan in order to impose peace in Darfur. Not only that, we're not going to get troops to do that. The UN has no standing capacity of its own. It has to turn to countries to give us soldiers. And there isn't one country on this planet that has offered soldiers for a war with Sudan over Darfur. So what I would urge is that countries use a combination of diplomacy and pressure. And maybe the combination is diplomatic pressure, but very strong pressure to get the government in Khartoum to see the error of its position and to try, therefore, to get their consent so that our robust UN force can go in.